back to the Rugby Connection podcast. I'm back.
Yeah, about 6 months. No,
It's about 6 months later, and I'm back. I took some time off in my off season. No, I went a bit ghost mode. Been doing some stuff in personal life, but I'm back. That's the only important thing. And we got rugby to talk about. We got playoffs. We got finals. We got news. Good and bad as usual.
Of course. It's never all good or all bad. You get a mix.
Exactly. It feels like a long time since I've said this, but Murray, how you doing, mate?
I'm good. It feels good to have you back on. It's been a while.
It feels good to be back in a different setting, but it's good to be back.
My setting hasn't changed. Just the jersey's changed, that's all.
Yeah, I'm in a plain white room, no jerseys for me. I'm not in my old loft. I'm in the spare room of the new house. So yeah.
You got a theme moving on up. Well, let's not waste any time. You said it yourself. We had playoff rugby, we had champions crowned, we've got news because the summer series is fast approaching. But we're going to start off with the Southern Hemisphere this week.
Yep.
Southern Hemisphere Super Rugby quarterfinals. Not going to waste much time on it because it was a whitewash.
It was very much whitewash.
Chiefs 43-21 over the Reds. Yeah, cool. Well done, Chiefs. We expected it. Very dominant first half. Reds kind of shook it up a little in the second half, but it was Chiefs were too far ahead. Samasoni Takeaho, 2 tries, great tries. Aroni Narawa was fantastic. Damien McKenzie carving it up. He is definitely eyeing up that 10 jersey with the absence of Richie Mwanga and like maybe even Bowden Barrett because he's not allowed to play there now. So he might be very rusty. So who knows? Hurricanes flying high, still beating for the final time.
Yep.
The Melbourne Rebels, 47-20. We expected that as a win, but it is sad that is the final game. There is no more Melbourne.
The last time we'll see the Rebels play.
So I just before we go into other games, I did kind of mention it with Andy and Devon last week. They have got good players. There's various talented players in the Melbourne Rebels setup.
100%.
Who could you see going where? So, like, Tanya Alatupo was obviously rumoured to go to Leinster. I don't know if that's still happening, but you've still got, like, Andrew Kellaway. You've got Carter Gordon.
Andrew Kellaway, I can see... Andrew Kellaway, I can see maybe a possible move to, like, a French club. I can see him in the top 14. I can see him fitting in quite comfortably. Carter Gordon, I mean, Western Force tend to snap up players where they can. You know, that's sort of been their trend at the moment. So I could see maybe him going to a Force. Again, also maybe a possible move to France or even the URC. Taniele Tupou, I don't think he'll go to Leinster because there's no space for him there. He'll just be a bench. He'll just be a bench warmer, like he has been for the Rebels and for Australia for a bit.
I'm trying to think, just because obviously they'll all want to still play for the Wallabies, and I know that there's like weird rules about that. If you've got like X amount of caps, you can still play within the window and all that. But I imagine Carter Gordon wants to stay in Australia. He might go to the Waratahs, battle Tain Edmund for the 10. That'd be nice.
Yeah, especially with the Waratahs struggling at the moment, I can see them trying to make some signings.
Yeah. Kellaway could be the Force because you've then got Nick White, Ben Donaldson, and then Kellaway at the back.
And actually thinking about it, I can't see Kellaway leaving Australia because he is probably one of the best Australian talents at the moment. I mean, this season he's been absolutely fantastic.
The big one I want to know, and he's not been capped yet, but he was carving it up this season. Darby Lancaster, the winner for the Rebels, he's gonna have to stay. I could see
him fitting into the Reds. I could see him fitting in. I could see him with the Reds.
Darby Lancaster on one wing and the junkyard dog Tim Ryan on the other.
Yeah,
I ain't into that. I like that. So who knows? But yeah, it's sad. It's the last time we'll see the Melbourne Rebels. It's sad because they are no more. It's not that they've just been kicked out of that tournament.
They've not been kicked out. There will not be a Melbourne Rebels anymore.
There might be another Melbourne team. I don't know.
Maybe.
We discussed it just before we hit record because like geographically, it makes sense to have a rugby union team in Melbourne. It's one of the biggest cities in
It is
Australia.
one of the sport. It's one of the sporting capitals of the
Yeah.
world, I'd say, in terms of just the culture around sport. But it has always been much more of a league-dominated city with Storm and everything. So
Who knows? We'll see. If something comes of it, we'll obviously let you know. But moving on, the Blues again, very comfy win because the Fijian Drua just don't travel well. I don't know
they
what
don't
it is.
travel well, and they just capitulate, and they make. That was the one game I did watch of the Super Rugby playoffs. And although I do sort of somewhat follow the Blues for Super Rugby, I was rooting for Fiji and Drua. I was rooting for the Drua. I think as everyone probably was.
Probably,
And
yeah.
I was just smashing my head against the wall.
Just did nothing with the ball
It
at
was
all.
like, do you know what it was? It reminds me of every single Fijian team in history. That's like their go-to plan when they're losing is just
Chuck it.
fucking hospital passes, chucking the ball around. It's not
Mm.
going to work.
No. And holding the hope for Australian rugby, because that's what they seem to do. The Brumbies getting a fairly comfortable win over the Highlanders, 32-16, but it was only 17-16 at half time. Very nip
Yeah.
and tuck. Highlanders, I think, just got burnt out. They chucked everything in
Yeah.
the first half. It was great. It was actually very unexpected. And then the Brumbies went, they're knackered. Top and oh my god, Andy Muirhead's try. I'm not one for the whole like constantly grubber kicking it, but the touch to keep the control was beautiful. Oh,
There
it
was
was,
quite a lot of footballing wingers
mm,
this week, wasn't there?
yes, there was quite a few, but we'll get into that later. But yeah, quarterfinals, all very predictable winners overall, but
Yeah.
two very exciting semi-finals. So let's predict it. Friday morning for us over here in the UK. Blues versus Brumbies.
Blues versus Brumbies. Blues are hosting.
Mm.
Um, yeah, listen, I can't see the Brumbies getting a win. I won't lie.
No.
The Blues are going to be a step too far. The Highlanders, traditionally the weakest of the Kiwi teams, and they had to travel away. This time, the Brumbies are going over to Eden Park.
Yes.
And the Blues have been the Blues have been really fucking good this season.
Just hammering it.
Them and the Canes have just been tip top for the top position. So yeah, Blues, I'm gonna say by 50, a good 15-point buffer.
That's fair. Yeah, I'll go in that points
I
region.
don't want to put major disrespect on the Brumbies because they have been quality this season themselves.
I'll say Blues by 10, just to make it a bit
Yeah.
more interesting. But the next game is tasty and could go either way. Hurricanes versus the Chiefs. Mm,
That's a big clash, isn't it?
tasty.
That is a big Kiwi clash. I can't look past the form of the Canes this season.
It's hard. It's hard to look.
They went on that long unbeaten run at the start of the season. They dropped a few games, but still been very quality. Finished the season top of the log. The Chiefs have been up and down.
Were they top of the log? Oh yeah, they were. So they were by a
They
point.
were. They finished
Yeah.
top of the log above the Blues.
Oh,
I'm going to give it to the Canes. Home
but
advantage as well.
yeah,
But I wouldn't be surprised if the Canes capitulated because they've done it in the past. They've lost these big games in the past. So
that's fair. Speaking of that win streak that they did at the start of the season, there were 8 wins on the trot, and I did a video on TikTok and went, Clark Laidlaw is the next Scotland head coach. He knows what he's doing. He's won gold with the Sevens. Next game they lost. I was like, of
yeah,
course of course it.
yeah,
But
it's how it goes. You jinx them.
yeah, jinxed it. Got too excited. But yeah,
Yeah, but
no,
I can see it being a Blues Canes final, which is just going to be an absolute showpiece.
you know what? I'm good with that. I'm so happy with that. don't have anything to argue with you on that. Again, I could see the Chiefs causing upset, but I am going to.
Do you know what? I wouldn't be upset with the Chiefs Brumbies either, but
they're all
I'd
good.
love to see the Brumbies win it.
Just rolling back the years, probably like it's like 2000.
Well, the last Aussie team to win it was the Tars. Correct me if I'm wrong. In 2014. But one thing we can take from it, it's going to be a different winner this year, regardless, because the Crusaders didn't even make the playoffs.
No, but
for the first time since 2014, I think it was, they didn't make the playoffs.
It's been a while, but we all know that they're going to come back.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's the Crusaders, and they did start picking up good wins at the end of the season, beating the Blues.
Oh yeah, Blues Canes final.
That's what I think is going to be a nice Blues Canes final, blue and yellow.
Scott Robertson will be there, loud and proud, writing down his team sheet. Pretty much.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Come back over to, I'll say the Northern Hemisphere, but there is one game in South Africa, so.
The URC, the United Rugby Championship, the greatest of them all.
Definitely the most competitive, for sure.
Yes, the tightest by far.
Quarterfinals, Friday night, Munster versus Ospreys, 23-7 to the defending champs. Do you know what? Credit to the Ospreys, because they were going for it. And then
Ospreys were going for it.
They just slipped off. I mean, credit to them. They didn't expect to get this far.
So they had a 2% chance of making the playoffs, and they did it. So
yeah, you only need that 1% chance, and they done it. So there you go.
Exactly.
Munster just looked too strong in the end. Jack Crowley,
Munster,
great.
Munster hit form at the right time. I've noticed this past couple of seasons. They always hit form. They always hit form right at the end of the season. They finished top of the log this season. They're gonna have a comfortable run to the final, in my opinion. But yeah.
Now the next game, again, we all expected the win for this team, but not that close.
It was a tight one. Bulls Benetton, and do you know what? It's sort of been the story of the Bulls for the whole season, because the Bulls have by far been up there with the best teams this season in the URC. They've been absolutely brilliant, and they have broken records for point scoring, tries scored, meters made. They've broken all sorts of records, but a reoccurring factor with this Bulls team is they'll take sort of a massive lead, and then in the last sort of 20 to like 15, 20 minutes, they'll just start conceding, and quick tries, like tries every 5 minutes. They'll just start conceding. And it wasn't too far off the picture in this game either. Benetton was sort of let back into the game, I think, quite luckily for them. And they could have won it. They were close.
You know who's really impressed me this season for the Benetton team? Well, not like they've all been really good. They've all deserved their place in this playoffs. But Rotave, the big Fijian on the wing.
Oh
my God.
Where was he? Correct me if I'm wrong. He was the top try scorer in the Challenge Cup.
Yeah, he didn't score much in the URC, and he just decided, you know what, I'm going to have fun in this Challenge Cup.
But yeah, absolutely, just a fucking brilliant player to watch. Another player who impressed me, and it's no surprise because he does it on the international stage as well, but Ignacio Brex.
Oh, he's just...
he's really putting his claim to... He was sort of outshone by Menoncello in the Six Nations, but my God, in the URC for Benetton, he has been the main man in my eyes in that centre position. He's absolutely brilliant. I
was just going to say that. It feels like when the Italian team's playing, Menoncello's like, it's my time to shine. But the minute it's Benetton, Brett's like, shh, no, my turn. And that's probably what makes him work so well as a centre pairing as well. Because it's just like, no, you do it now, and then I'll do it in a few weeks. Don't worry.
Exactly.
So, Bill's getting the win. Penalty Aronsa. 30 seconds on the clock. Go.
Yeah. Is that the fastest try ever recorded in a URC game? 26 seconds, I think it was.
Yeah. And they didn't even start with the ball. That's what makes it even more crazy.
No, it was a contestable kickoff. And then who collected it? Was it LaRue?
Yes, LaRue just said, yep, Let's go.
LaRue decided to roll back the years to become the best fullback in the world again.
So
Just endless class, endless class. But they started strong and they went on to have a dominant yet shaky game, I'd say. That's how I'd summarize that Bulls performance. Dominant but shaky.
Yeah. But they're in the semi-finals. That's what they wanted. So
they're in the semi-finals. They're in the strongest position they could be, but they are against some of the strongest opposition. But we'll get on to that.
Get into that in a minute because it was going to happen. Leinster versus Ulster. Ulster going for the third win this season against Leinster. Yeah, no, you're playing the Irish national team this time. It isn't happening. James Lowe, just 2 tries.
Yeah.
Good. Sam Prendergast was really good off the bench.
I always sort of rip into not just Leinster fans. It seems all too often, especially with the European campaign, but Leinster fans more so often recently. But just in general, when people make the excuse of, oh, it's our B team, oh, it's our C team, I always say, well, that's the team that you fielded regardless. You could have fielded your A team. Yes, you're focusing on Europe or whatever, but you could have. You could have. Yeah. But you didn't. But that game, I think, showed a night and day difference between Leinster's strongest package and Leinster's still very capable team, but a beatable team, where when they field that team, they look near unbeatable unless your name's Anton Dupont.
That's fair, though, because, especially when it comes to knockout rugby, I try to do as many combined 15s as possible. And the minute the lineup came up for Leinster, I was like, there's not one Ulster player that I can compare.
Realistically, no. You might put one in just to make it interesting, but realistically, you're not.
It's weird because my rule is it has to be minimum 4 from at least one of them. So it needs to actually be combined. Having one player is not a combined 15.
Who did you have? Maybe a Sutherland, maybe a...
Didn't have any. I looked at the team and I was like...
You just couldn't do it.
Just Leinster. I was like, there's not any point in filming it, discussing it. I just completely ignored it. I was like, cool. And then the scoreline says it itself. So
it says it all, yeah.
Final quarterfinal. That's such a weird game. Glasgow Warriors beating the Stormers 27-10. Stormers can't kick at all. I don't know what is going on with Manila Bok, and I don't like singling out players. It was Manila Bok on kicking duty, and he missed a lot.
You know what? They've got, and what really just I don't understand about the Stormers is Manny Libok. It is clear now that the weakest part of his game is his kicking. He's a good player. But the weakest part of his game is his kicking. You've got someone like Sasha Ngomazulu there, who I can't remember, was he playing 12 that game?
I believe so. I'll double check.
I think he was playing inside centre. He's got a hell of a boot on him. He's a young player with a hell of a boot. Just give him the kicking duties.
Thing is, the bit that annoys me about Lebok is we've discussed it, especially during the World Cup. He's a confidence-based kicker. If the first one goes in, he won't miss. But new rule: if he misses the first kick, change the kicker.
Also, I think it is very much so. If his team is on the front foot, he has that confidence. If his team is on the back foot, he capitulates.
Well,
which makes me feel a lot better about the fly-off options we've got coming in. But again, we'll get onto that in the news section. But yeah, no, very weird game. Probably the one game that I'm sort of glad I missed out of all of them.
It was an alright game. The weather did not help either team. I'm getting that out of the way now.
No, the weather was atrocious. I watched the highlights.
One
man I will point out is Sony Tuaplotu.
Yeah, he's just amazing, isn't
he? We know he's a good player. You see these international players play for their clubs and they're good players. And then they just go and do things that make you think, is that the best centre in the world? Is that the best, Yeah, no, he had a phenomenal game. He's had a phenomenal season, but...
Such a weird game, though, because Glasgow are winning 6-0. Again, points off the kicking tee by George Horn, who was 100% off the tee. Ben Loader then scores a try for the Stormers. Woodlock, as we've mentioned, missed. Straight from kickoff, Tuipulotu gets the ball, runs it, passes to Cancellieri, and that just flicked the switch. Henkel Venner then got a try, and then the game was finished. It was 20 points to 10. The clock went red. Stormers then went, let's play it out our dead ball area for some. Butchered the kick. Henkel Venner then got a touch to it, and Ross Thompson, who is leaving Glasgow to come to Edinburgh, essentially just fell back and got a try. So 27-10 to Glasgow. It's so mental, but we have got semi-finals to predict, and they're very tasty fixtures indeed. We're over to Thomond Park. We have Munster versus Glasgow Warriors. It is a URC classic. These two, when it comes to big games, love just going against each other.
It's really tough. I can't, logically, you can't look past Munster.
No.
And we've seen Glasgow play Munster already this season away. And it was probably one of the poorest Glasgow performances we've seen this season. It was probably their poorest performance, I'll say. Glasgow can turn up and they can score tries and they can beat Munster, but I think Munster are going to win this game with a sense of confidence. I think it's not going to be a massive scoreline. I'd say maybe a 10-point buffer, but I can see Munster taking this game.
Yeah, I'd like to see Glasgow do it, because there's this people think that I've got this weird tribalism because it's Glasgow and I'm an Edinburgh fan. It's not how it works up here. We have two teams. Unless we're playing each other, we kind of go on. Yeah, you kind of back your
for Scotland.
Yeah. Basically, it does come down to nationalities. Yeah, go on. Like, I think I had to explain. I hate Saracens more than I hate Glasgow Warriors.
It's the same with me with any South African team. When it comes to game day against each other, I hate the Storms, I hate the Bulls, I hate the Lions. And when we play in the European games, I'm like, yeah, go for it, boys.
Yeah, that's what I'm like.
Proud.
And even this, especially next season as well. Historically, Edinburgh and Glasgow are not in the same European competition.
No.
So you do get like Glasgow versus Bordeaux, and you go on Glasgow. Why not?
Give them some.
Yeah. So I would like to see Glasgow do it. They definitely can. They have got the caliber there.
Yeah.
But the way Munster are performing, the form they're coming into, it's at Thomond Park. They want to keep that title. I can't look past Munster getting the win, but I can only see it by with like 5-6 points. I think it's going to be really tight.
I think, selfishly, I'd want Glasgow to win purely because if my prediction for the next game goes as planned, then the URC final will be held in South Africa for a third year in a row.
So I want it. So I'm going for Munster again for a selfish reason, because I really want to go to the final. I have withdrawal symptoms. I have not been to a rugby game in about a month now, and it's really hard. It's really upsetting me now. So I need a final close
in the vicinity.
Speaking of which, and it could change a lot, but we're over to Loftus. Bulls versus Leinster. Almost a teaser for what's coming in the summer, essentially.
Yeah, it is actually. And also, ironically, that Leinster team is pretty much going to be the Irish team.
Basically.
And the South African team that's been announced obviously doesn't have any of the Bulls players yet because they're in the semi-finals. Exactly. So
you are looking at Ireland versus South Africa, essentially.
Listen, Leinster are a brilliant team and historically one of the best European teams, yes. But this season they've not been as good as they can be. And yes, blah, 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 blah. They played the B team, blah, 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 blah. What did that get you? It got you a third in a row European final loss. So playing your B team didn't really pan out. Yeah, you're gonna play. They're gonna send their strongest team to Loftus. Yes. But I think if any team are going to beat Leinster, it's going to be the Bulls and Loftus.
See, I'm going to flip that because if there's any team that can go to Loftus and get a win, it's Leinster.
It's going to be Munster.
No, because if it's Bulls, if Bulls win, it's at Thurman Park because Munster.
Yeah, no, I'm going to say I know, but yeah, I'm just saying Munster are the ones who
keep
winning in South Africa.
Munster don't fear going to South Africa; they love it.
Yeah, they love it. It's a holiday for them.
It is, but Bulls Leinster.
Bulls do have some injuries. Curly Arms are injured. Kane and Mooney injured.
Is that going to change much though? Because you still got David Creel.
Got David Creel. Sebastian de Klerk is looking very good for the few games that he's capped for. Obviously, I'm backing the Bulls. I'm backing the Bulls. I want the URC to come back to South Africa. I want the final to be in South Africa once again. Hopefully, Glasgow can do us a favour there. But I'm gonna go for the Bulls by 2 points. It's not going to be a big win, but it's going to be a win. And the Bulls have history of beating Leinster in playoff games.
They do. They do indeed. I'm going to go Bulls, not for patriotism or that, just because it's at Loftus. And I can't get that out of my head. It is going to be tight.
Do you know what? And if Leinster lose, you just know it's going to be a wave of, oh yeah, but altitude. The altitude.
But altitude, but the referee, shut up.
But the referee and the altitude. It was because we're so high above the sea, that's why we couldn't play rugby.
I know I can't play rugby there. I'm asthmatic. I'm not allowed to play that hard.
Yeah, no, I'd be dead in a ditch. I'd have a heart attack on the 5-minute mark.
I have been saying like all week it's going to be a Munster Bulls final, and I'm just going to have to stick with that. So there's no logic behind it.
I just really like seeing Leinster go trophyless.
Plus, and again, and that is a selfish reason, I kind of just want to go to the final and watch two teams I'm not affiliated with, and I can just sit back and watch.
Sit back and enjoy
what will be a good game of rugby, regardless of who in this final. It's going to be a great game of rugby.
And you know what? If there's one Irish team that I don't have a problem with winning the URC, it is Munster.
Fair enough. Well,
I don't mind Munster.
Well, we've got all the quarterfinals out of the way, and a champion was crowned this weekend.
Oh, what a game!
Northampton Saints versus Bath, 25-21, 10 years worth waiting. Saints back on top. And what a story.
Bath heartbroken.
Heartbroken, but we will get into the game. But fairy tales do come true. Courtney Laws getting his perfect send-off. And another one that I was not completely aware of until it was mentioned on commentary. Phil Dowson, the head coach, was a player 10 years ago for the Saints and came off the bench to help them win it. Love that. I love that story. And you know what? Saints have deserved it. They have been on top.
They've been the best team in the Premiership. Ollie
Sightholm is fantastic. He is electric. George Furbank is so underrated in the wider picture, but he's awesome to watch. Fantastic at fullback. Did really well at 10 when Finn Smith got hurt. Alex Mitchell is the Iron Man. Never in a final do you really see a scrum half of all positions play the full 80. So fair play to him on that. George Hendy.
Oh,
21 years old, comes off the bench and gets player of the match, sets up essentially the winning try.
Does he lube himself up with lotion or oil before the games? Because I swear to God, the amount of tacklers that fall off. Because the thing is, you look at him and he doesn't look like the biggest bloke.
No.
He doesn't look like someone who's going to be beating defenders, but he does, and he does it so often. And how many defenders did he beat up to set up Alex Mitchell?
4, 5?
4, 5? ridiculous.
Popped it in. There you go. But let's talk about the big issue. Ben Albano's red card.
Ben Albano, 20 minutes in, red card.
Well, he's not going on England. We'll get into it, but he's not going on tour with England. Probably because of that.
Yes. I've seen a bit of chat whether or not it was a red card or not.
It was a red.
It was a red card.
Initially,
and even if
sorry, the first time I've seen it, the first replay, I was like, "That's a yellow," and then the minute I've seen it again, I was like, "No, that's red." He's not dipped. He's not even slowed down. Yeah, just stupid.
But you know what? You get people saying like, "Oh, you know, these new red card laws, the rules around red cards, they ruin games, they ruin finals, and people go back to the World Cup final with the red card, and it's a final. Don't do that.
Don't do it in any game, really, but
don't do it in any game, but don't do it in a final if you want to win. You know,
so you know what?
Bath are then taken down to 14 men for 60 minutes of that game, and yeah.
It was a weird one because Bath were in it. Bath were winning at one point. And I would like to praise two players. And one I never praise. I've never been a big fan of him. But he really impressed me, and I can actually now see why people rate him so highly.
Sam Underhill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He is one of the best. He is one of the best defenders, one of the best tacklers, one of the best hunters in world rugby.
Just does all that nitty gritty, dirty stuff.
But that's the thing, and that's, I think, like, people who notice him rate him, and that's why I've always rated Sam Underhill.
That's probably why I haven't, because I'm just like, But now I'm just like, oh, the minute like that game finished, I was like, I get it. I fully understand what people like about Sam Underhill now. So
he just puts his shoulder into people and sends them backwards.
If Sam Underhill's listening, I doubt it, but I apologise for doubting anything you've done previously. You have my utmost respect. You are an absolute workhorse, a war machine, a nuisance on the defence. Yeah, great player.
And as of recent, he's become a quite prolific carrying threat as well.
Yeah.
He's added that to his arsenal. So yeah, Sam Underhill is a very good player.
He's a very good player. Another player that I'd like to talk about is Finn Russell. Come on. It had to be. Even though he wasn't 100% off the kicking tee, and the first one was actually funny because he looked, even you can see in the replay, I thought I had that. And it just kind of swiveled away. But it's 50-22. The way he controls the game is second to none. There is not another player that controls tempo like Finn Russell.
Finn Russell to Bath, do you think that's the most valuable signing of this season for any team?
I think because where Bath were. I mean, remember when you... I remember
that's
when you...
what I'm saying.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Because they even said it on commentary. When you get a world-class player, the team instantly becomes better because it's almost like the players want to impress the superstar. And
yeah,
it works. You know who I felt so sorry for in this final was Joe Gallagher. Matt Gallagher, the fullback at Bath. 30 seconds in, nearly scored a try. If the ball bounced perfectly, try. And then a little bit later,
win that final.
Yeah, and then a bit later, there was a nice grubber up and over. And again, if the ball bounced, it would have been a try. So two massive opportunities that didn't come to anything because it's an egg-shaped ball.
Ball didn't bounce right. It's an egg-shaped ball.
Yeah. But yeah, I like this. I loved it because both teams were coming into the final with their own story, and I love that. There was no... I didn't feel like there was any underdog into this. But Saints getting the win, it was good to see. I'm obsessed with the Shoe Army chant. Every time the Saints win, it's like the first video I want to see on social media. It's great. It's fun. I don't understand half the words, but they're having an absolute whale of a time, and yeah, respect. Got to love it.
And probably one of the best finals in the Premiership that we've seen Last year's final was pretty good. Last season's Sale versus Saris.
It was weird because the stats coming out before the final started was bizarre. So it was like this Northampton Saints is the fifth different team in 5 seasons to win the Prem. There's nobody went back to back. And it was the first final in 11 years that didn't have Saracens or XR Chiefs in it.
Or Exeter in the I've seen that stat.
That is insane. Also, not the final, but just to go back to the quarterfinals briefly, every home team won. There was no away upset in any home.
Yeah.
I mean, you could even count Northampton because I'm pretty sure they had the home dressing room, so because they were the top seed, so they would have. Yeah. So every home team
won. Every home team has won this week.
Mental.
We just shows how much home advantage counts for.
Counts massively.
Should we get on some news?
Rugby news.
Should we get on to the juicy stuff first? Because I know we both want to talk about it. The squad's announced.
Squads are announced. Summer series is less than a month away. Wales did their squad last week, which me, Andy, and Devon discussed. This week we got 2. We got
I'll let you talk about England first.
Thanks. Yeehaw. Just what a Scotsman wants to do is talk about England.
Yeah.
It's a good team. You know what? I don't bullshit when it comes to squads. I am very happy. It is a very strong squad. I do feel sorry for Curtis Langdon. Northampton Saints. I feel like he's been very hard done by, but who's there? You can't really argue it either. It's one of them ones. But I probably would have went for him, but that's not my decision. My opinion doesn't make
exactly.
Charlie Yule's getting back in the squad. Fair play. He got slated the last few times he's been in an England team. He's been doing really well for Bath. Fuck off, leave him alone. Everyone makes mistakes. Happy to see a lot of the champions in. There are 7 Northampton Saints in there.
The most, I think, representatives from an English club in that English team.
I think that's just going to become the norm. I've been saying it for a while that a lot of the players that have really put their hand up for Saints this year are going to be the backbone
of that England team.
England going forward, yeah. Props is an interesting one because obviously Ben Obano essentially isn't in the squad because I imagine he's getting a big ban. So it's not.
But there is a certain Finn Baxter in that team.
Finn Baxter, this is a proper time to try and take it for yourself. But Joe Marler's on the team. I thought Joe Marler was doing.
So did I. I guess he's going for one more stint.
I'm not mad at it. I like Joe Marler. It's just when you read his name, I thought you were finished. But it's okay.
He's still here.
There is 6 uncapped players in the squad. Finn Baxter being one. Gabriel Ogre, the Bristol Bears hooker, very exciting prospect, but I probably would have went for Curtis Langdon just off form. But that's nothing against Gabriel. That's not. He is a good player. It's very exciting. Then you've got Joe Carpenter, the Sale Sharks fullback. Very good opportunity as well. Brings something different compared to Farbank and Freddie Stewart. Luke Northmore in the centres for Quins. Thank God he has been called up. I've been saying it for as long as I've been watching Luke Northmore. Tom Roebuck, that one hurts because he's born in Inverness. I'm sorry if you're not going to cap him to give him to us.
Yep.
And the one I am most excited about, Ollie Slightholme, is in the England team.
Oh,
yes.
He has been destructive this season. 15
tries this year.
But you know what? That's just what you need. You need a big boy in that position.
He's quick, rapid.
You just need a big boy with pace, and he's gonna score you tries. That try that he scored against the Bulls, where he just tiptoed through everyone.
Yeah, the try got in the final. It was from his own kick, and it's like everyone just fell asleep, and he's just like, "Excuse me, pardon me, coming through, try." Yeah, but I know Cam's itching to talk about his beloved South Africa, and the Springboks have named the team. Quick disclosure before Cam gets into it. It is not the full team. This is
No,
purely for the Wales game, in my eyes.
pretty much. So European, like Premiership, top 14 based players are not eligible to play. There are players like Andre Pollard and Jasper Wiese who are training with the team, but they are not eligible for selection. So pretty much it is Japanese based players, Stormers, Lions, Sharks, and that's what you've got. And it's still such an exciting team.
Very good mix.
I mean, listen, I won't go over any of the people you would expect to see there. A lot of World Cup champions still there. A lot of players, sort of fringe players that have been there, been about. Sort of Mkhunu's there. Fassi, he sort of earned his way back into the Springbok jersey. So deservedly so, because he's been one of the best Sharks players this season. But a host of players from the Lions and the Sharks, which I'm very excited about. Mainly Kewan Horn and Edward van der Merwe and Morne van der Berg. Those three players from the Lions just absolutely electric. And with World Rugby changing the laws around the scrums and sort of depowering the scrums, it only makes sense for Rassie Erasmus to start picking some more of these pacey electric players. And it kind of rings true it gives you an idea of what his plans are for South Africa in the next 4-year cycle. Going on to my Sharks, the likes of Sia Masuku.
I'm so happy.
Take a bow, Sia Masuku. He came in to the Sharks this season as a backup fly half from the Cheetahs. He ended up as the first choice fly half, winning a European trophy and getting selected for the Springboks.
It's a good season to me, anyway.
Not only that, Pepsi Buthelezi, he's been knocking on the Springbok door for a while. But he's, again, for a struggling Sharks team, he's had a brilliant season. Ethan Hooker, Ethan Hooker is the one I did not expect to see. I wanted to see him. I think he's a brilliant, but I thought he's not shown enough. He's had about half a season of good rugby, but Rassie Erasmus clearly likes what he sees, and Ethan Hooker is in the training squad.
You've missed a big one, and we're all excited for, but it's the question of where do you put him?
What, Sasha Mngomezulu?
Yeah, Sasha Feinberg. Yeah, where'd you put him?
He is going to be a very much Damien Willemse type mold player.
There.
He is an anywhere player, and you know what? You can play him at 12, you can play him at 15, you can play him at fly half, you can probably play him at 13. He can fill in those spaces. And with Damien Willemse, I think, soon to be taking that starting position. Well, he is the starting fullback now. Valileru, I don't think, is going to be the starting fullback.
Yep.
I can see Mngomezulu being sort of that bench position, utility back. Okay. So that's where I think he's going to fall into the squad.
That's fair.
Although I think we could see him starting against Wales. I could see a lot of these fresh faces starting or getting off the bench against Wales just to see what they can do.
You've actually read my mind there, because I was just going to try and rattle off. I have already done a team I would have liked to see against Wales before the squads were announced. I had Tyrone Green at fullback, Subi. I really wanted Tyrone Green in the mix, but I don't know what he has to do.
Yeah, but also no Northern Hemisphere based players.
No.
So he is still yet to come in. Maybe.
My logic was more, well, Quins are out, so
yeah.
I don't get why
it falls outside the international window, though, doesn't it? So there's that.
I know, but there's no need for Quins to keep. It's the same for like Wales with Exeter Chiefs. We're finished. Our season's done. Let them go to international treaties.
You know how petty clubs are.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, so my team, now that the squad's out, to be against Wales would be Oxman J.
Yeah.
Bonga Manambe.
Yeah.
Vincent Koch.
Yeah.
I would then have Eben Etzebeth.
Yeah.
With Franklin Mostert, because why not? If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
You then have Peter Stiff Toy. Trying to think. I'm trying to have a look right now. Maybe Ben Jason Dixon.
I was going to say Ben Jason Dixon can fit in that back row. He can fit in the locks as well.
Maybe use him on the bench actually. Then a bit more versatile. Quagga Smith.
He's a very much Peter Steph Toy type player. Ben Jason Dixon.
I'm changing that because of what Devon got in my head last week. I'm putting even Roos at 6.
Okay.
/7 because I know you do it stupid way and it's opposite. Pierce Sefton in the 7 jersey. Pepsi Butolizzi at 8. Do I start 50 Clark? Nah, I'll go Grant Williams at 9.
Okay.
Siamasuka at 10.
Yes.
I'll go Andre at 12. I know Damien's there, but
Andre Esterhuizen?
Yeah, let Andre Esterhuizen at 12.
Oh, he is available, isn't he? Because he's left Quins.
Tyrone Green's been done dirty.
Yeah, but Andre Esterhuizen's left Quins.
Still says Quins in brackets.
Fair enough.
That might just be an error.
But it makes me interesting because will he be able to play? Because Pollard and Visa are out of the question. They won't be selected. So will Esterhuizen be selected?
You know what? Fuck it, he is now. In my eyes, yes, he is.
Okay, fair
enough. Where can Quan Horn play?
Wing or fullback.
Oh. Ethan Hooker maybe in 13? Or swap it. You could have Andre in the 13 if need be.
Ethan Hooker would be better at 13. I'd have Esterhuizen and Hooker if you were going to go for that centre partnership.
I'm trying to go for a bit fresher. So, yeah. Andre, Ethan Hooker as my centres. I'll have... I don't have this written down. I'll have Edville van der Merwe on one wing because he's so good. Quan Horn, another. And Afalili Fassi at fullback. Bench, I would have Malcolm Marks, Makunu. Who's the other tight heads?
Anything for sheer?
Yeah, I've just seen it there. I was in bold writing. Yeah, Nathan Fisher. Probably Salman Morat in 19.
Yeah, I don't know. Ruben van Heerden. I'm surprised not to see his name there.
For Ruben. Then you could have... Shit, who was it I said? I was going to pick Ben Dixon.
Ben Jason Dixon on the bench.
And then the 20 jersey. I am doing 5-3. I always do 5-3 when I'm doing teams.
Yeah. Have a Mornay van der Berg, I would put.
Okay. I would go for 5 just to, yeah.
Yeah, I'd have a Mornay van der Berg just to see what... Because, do you know what I mean? People have been saying, give like some of the big name players, give them the Wales test to see, just to shake off the rust for the Ireland tour. But these guys have proven it all before. They've been playing rugby. They've been keeping warm in Japan. This Wales test, we started the 4-year period. Chuck in the new cap, see what they can do, and build the squad from there. So I'd go for Mornay van der Berg.
So I've got Fat Mark at 21, Jordan Hendricks at 22, and Sasha Five at 23.
Okay. I'd be almost tempted to. I'd be almost tempted to put Sasha at 22 and then maybe a Kewan Horn at 23.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I'm not.
And you know what? Instead of playing Andre Esterhuizen at 12, I'd play Jordan Hendrickser at 12. Keep Ethan Hooker because he has played 12 for the Lions a few times.
Okay.
Or you could start Ngoma Zulu at 12.
Yeah.
There's so many options. I'm just really happy to see all these fresh faces and players who have been. And you know what? Justice for the Lions finally, because they have had some of the most exciting players for the last couple of seasons in South Africa, and they haven't been represented. But finally, they're getting due representation, hopefully, in the Springboks.
I really thought, what's his name?
Sanelo Nhamba,
Yeah, I really want to see him.
concussion. He's out injured.
Yeah, I just really want to see a turnover.
Yeah, he would have been there because he was in the alignment camp a couple of months back, but he got concussed against the Stormers, didn't he, in the final round of the URC?
Of course he does. Typical.
I would have loved to see him there. I would have had him at scrum half and Masuku at fly half. Yeah.
Final bit of news. I don't know how much news or how much looking into this there is. Kira Ioane, 10 years of being a Blue, is heading to Japan. Now, on this own, that's not really news. A lot of players go to Japan now. But he is eligible for Japan come November 2025.
Is it will be 3 years, won't it?
Yeah.
3 years since he's played.
I feel like it's been more than 3 years. I feel like it's been a lot longer than that.
It feels like it. It feels like it. But he's probably got a cap against Japan or something in that we've forgotten about.
Game that he's played. So if that's the case, then yeah, 2025. But he was
born in Tokyo, so he would skip the queue because he's born there.
Somebody watched my video and stole that like word for word there.
Yeah, I did. I've been watching your TikToks.
Yeah, so that's Akira Ioane to Japan. I don't hate it. I do not hate it.
I don't hate it. You know, if that opportunity, I can't see it happening. I can't see him capping for Japan. I really can't. But
you know what I do hate? That we are less than a month from our summer tour, and Scotland don't have a team announced, like a squad.
They're just teasing you. They're just.
I can't see any of our big names going. There is no need.
Who are you playing against? You're playing Canada, USA,
Uruguay, and Chile.
What a roster! What a summer tour you've got coming up.
We get treated we get dog shit in the summer, don't we? It's so boring. Not boring. It will be fun to see like the younger lads get a go and a proper whack at it.
And to be fair, how many times do you get to play teams like Chile, Uruguay, other than World Cups?
So I've actually been doing this just because sometimes it's a slow news day and content needs to be getting pumped out. I've been doing here's the Scotland team the last time we played Canada, which was 2018.
Yeah.
And who started then? Blair Kinghorn made his debut. Jamie Ritchie made his debut that game. It was a very, very weird. Then
very weird period.
Who did we play the last time we played the USA? We got beat that game. Because our kicking was shocking. Yeah, it was not great. 30-29 to the USA in Houston. Don't let that happen again. Yeah. It was a fun game. Apart from when Stuart Hogg caught the high ball and the commentator shouted Grant Gilchrist. That was weird. Big difference, but that's cool.
Literally a large difference.
Well, large difference. For one, Grant Gilchrist doesn't jump for the high ball. He will get a high ball if somebody lifts him. But
I was going to say, he's so large. Is he physically able to jump?
I've never seen Grant just run up and, yeah,
do like an Ebenezer type, high ball receipt type. Yeah.
Last time we played Uruguay was the 1999 World Cup where Gregor Townsend was playing.
Get him back on the pitch, I say.
And the last time we played Chile, I don't believe we've actually played Chile at like cap level. We did do a Scotland A before the Argentina series a few years ago, but it doesn't count.
Yeah, you did. It was the series you lost to Argentina. You played Chile, didn't you?
Yeah.
So I just thought I'd remind you that you lost the series to Argentina.
That's the year we played them 4 times because we played them 3 times in there, and then they came to Murrayfield.
Yeah, and the Springboks beat you 30 points to 15 in Murrayfield. That was fun as well.
Yep, same autumn. Yeah, was not a good autumn. Shut up! Well, I haven't missed you anyway. Not now I haven't. I was thinking it'd be nice having Cam back.
I'm back.
There's a reason he's been away for a while. But that's been rugby. Next week, we have the semi-finals from the URC and Super Rugby. That's maybe some international teams. We don't know yet. Ireland and Scotland.
Yeah, we might get some more team announcements, but that's about it.
Maybe some massive signings. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. And maybe I'll be back again. Who knows?
You might be. We might go. We might just go really mad and have 2 South Africans next week with Cam and Divan.
We'll have the one sort of fake South African in myself, and then we'll have the one real South African, and then we'll have the Scotsman.
The one that poaches all of them. Me.
Yeah. Yeah, funny that you've got so many, as a Scottish man, you've got so many South Africans on your podcast. Funny that, very similar to your rugby union.
Trying to feel at home, make you feel at home. Nothing strange about it. But yeah, this has been Rugby Connection Podcast. You can watch us on our YouTube page at Rugby Connection Podcast, or you can watch us over on Casual Bias Rugby. We're on both. Take your pick. We're on Spotify, Instagram. Cam still doesn't do LinkedIn, I believe. So that's all.
No, I don't do anything anymore.
Right, cool. So we're on YouTube. We're on dual YouTube. We're on Spotify. We're on Instagram, TikTok. Yeah. If you like what I do.
You can have a look at my TikTok page. I don't post anymore, but you can have a look at it.
Yeah, still there. Still has more followers than me somehow. That I don't get.
Hey!
I don't understand that. He's been non-existent for.
I haven't posted about a year, and I've still somehow got more.
I'll get there eventually. We're all good.
It's all my faithful South Africans.
There. But yeah, Cam, welcome back. Welcome home. There you go.
Thank you. I feel at home.
And until next week, we'll see you later.
Cheers, guys.